Hey, good evening, Spartans. Welcome to lockdown session number 27. So we have got a lot of stuff to squeeze in tonight, so I want to get going right away. So we're going to go straight into our warm-up, little bit of stability, and then we are going to go get our heart rates up and get some really challenging work on board while I'm just getting all these guys into the Zoom session. So don't mind all this weird stuff in the background, like the owl and the flamingo. We've just got some stuff we're doing a bit of redecorating, and obviously everything gets stuck in the background of YouTube videos. So what I want you guys to start off with, we're just going to go into a walkout, straight into a wide mountain climber, straight into a rotation. We're going to do that, combine those three moves, so it should look a little bit like this. So we're going to get going, guys, for 2 minutes. Off we go. So it's going to be one walkout, one wide mountain climber, one rotation, back down with the hand, step back with the foot, back to standing, and then it's the same thing on the other side. So that walkout, full walkout, big step forward, big rotation. Okay, back down, step back, back up onto your feet. Off we go, let's go. So it's 2 minutes, getting yourselves moving through those. So it's walkout, wide mountain climber, rotate hand up towards the ceiling. Now if you step forward with the right foot, you should be lifting the right hand as well. So again, it's that walk out. I'm going with my left foot. Left hand gets lifted. Hand comes back down. Step back and back up onto your feet. When you step back up onto your feet, try and push the hips up into the air as much as you can. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying the touch sessions out in the rain or the sunshine, or to be fair, I wouldn't be altogether surprised in the snow, the way the weather keeps changing at the moment. Oh, just for the purposes of the guys watching on YouTube, I'm looking at these guys on Zoom and I am seeing some fresh cuts. I think everybody queuing up on for early first thing Saturday morning, getting a fresh do. 30 seconds more, guys, 30 seconds more. At the end of this 30 seconds, we're just going to go straight into those get-ups. Now again, you can use your hands on the floor if you want, but more of a challenge to try and keep your hands off the floor. Okay, so those get-ups. You still got another 15-ish seconds of these. And then we come into those get-ups. So either hands on the floor to make it a little bit easier, or hands off the floor to make it a bit more challenging. Changing over in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. So again, hands off the floor, back onto the back up onto your feet, or obviously you can use your hands, which makes that a little bit easier. The challenge is still getting your body up and down onto the floor, moving your entire body weight, which is a challenge. So probably more of a challenge for forwards than it is for some of the backs. But that's the nature of it. That's the nature of it. Another way of looking at that is that you're getting more of a workout just by being heavier. So lying down flat onto your back up onto your feet. You want to make it even more challenging. Try not to use any momentum on the way up. So when you lie down, there's a pause, then you come back up into it. Okay? If you lie back and give that little kick through the legs, you make things a little bit easier because you can get that momentum to drive yourself up onto your feet. There's 1 minute gone, so you're going for another 30 seconds. Sorry. So another 20 seconds now at this stage. We're not going to spend too long on stability today because I want to get in quite a bit of fitness work, which is, you know, maybe ominous, depending on how you look at it. Time. Okay, all I want you to do this time, guys, okay, it's going to be a single leg deadlift, but we're not going to work on balance this time. So what I want you to do is take a step forward, so you'll be on your toes. Don't worry, I'll demo this side on as well. So you're going to be stepping forward, front foot stays flat, push the hips back, feel that stretch down through the hamstring and back up. So it's just that fold over at the hips. So if you're looking at that from the side, again, front foot stays flat, you're on the toes on the back foot, and it's just that stiff leg down. So you're trying to stretch that hamstring and back to standing. What I want you to do is I want you to go for 15 reps on the right leg. Once you've done 15 reps on the right leg, swap sides and do the same thing. So it's that 15 reps on the left leg. We're going to go for just a minute and a half on that one. Off we go. Now each time you fold forward, you should feel that on the hamstring of the front leg. So my left leg is in front, so I'm stretching the hamstring on the left leg back up to standing each time. So slight, let me just have a look. Good, so slight bend in that front leg as well. So it's not, so I see a couple of guys on Zoom with leg fully locked out. Try and just keep it slightly bent. So you keep that slight bend in the knee and that stays through it. Because again, there's going to be very few situations in, not only on a rugby field, but in life when you're going to have to run and use your hamstrings in that kind of motion with your leg completely straight. Movement comes from a bent leg most of the time, or a slightly bent leg. So you may as well get used to it. If anybody wants to make that more challenging, just grab yourselves, you know, if you've got some weights around the house, if you've got a bag full of books, if you've got, you know, anything that's going to be that little bit added weight, hold that weight across your chest and just fold over, holding that little bit of extra weight. So it's that same exercise, that fold at the hips and back up each time. Another 20 seconds. Then we're going to move into some skaters. Again, these are going to be mini sets. They're going to be mini sets, so I want you guys to squeeze in as many or as few as you want. And we're going to do 2 different sets and I want you to vary between them. Okay guys, time. So we're coming into, so relax there, just the guys on Zoom. So we're going to come into some skaters. So that is where you are going to step out. And as you step out, balance on one foot and then straight out in the other side. Okay, so it's that's your basic one, just that step out each time, get nice and low into it. I want you to go for 10 on each side, give yourself a little bit of rest. Really focus on the landing, try and really stick the landing. So notice I'm balanced on one foot and then I'm going to the other side. So that's your first one, 10 on each side, give yourself a short rest. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 is a bit more explosive. We're going to try and get a little bit of rebound, okay? So all I want you to do is you're going to step right out, little hop, and then same thing on the other side. Each time, so it's just adding a tiny hop at each side. Again, sets of 10 on each side, give yourself a break. You've got 2 minutes, squeeze in as many or as few rounds in the next 2 minutes as you can. 3, 2, 1, off we go. So obviously the first one is just springing from side to side. Further the spring, the more challenging that becomes. The second one, you do a small hop at each side before you spring back again. Now again, if you've got, maybe you live in an apartment, you don't want to be jumping up and down, you don't necessarily have to do that launch out, you can just do a large step, rather than jumping, which takes a lot of the impact out of the movement. Now again, if you do this solid for a full 2 minutes, it'll be a hell of a challenge, but I'm not asking you to do it solid for 2 minutes. It's sets of 10 on each side. Give yourself as much of a rest as you need to get yourself ready for the next set, and then we go again. Simple as that. Okay, there's 1 minute gone. So guys that are on Zoom, you do have an ironclad excuse to stop and give yourself a rest on this one, because I want you to. Oh, I didn't fill any water. Okay, almost a minute and a half in. And the next one we're going to do is just the only upper body one we're going to do, and we're just going to play around a little bit with your downward facing dog. Okay, so downward facing dog is what we're going to work on. So it's not entirely shoulder based, it's more of the movement, so there's not much pressing. You're going to be in a straight arm position all the way through. Last 10 seconds of this one. Now again, I'm watching this, I'm seeing myself on the screen and I'm realising wearing black probably isn't the best for detail on these screens. Time, okay guys, relax. So wherever you're at, just relax there. So what I want you to do, we're going to focus on a downward facing dog. So that's trying to plant your feet flat, trying to plant your hands flat, and your bum up into the air. All we're going to do, again, just 2 minutes, where all I want you to do is just squeeze in, trying to press your hands into the floor, trying to push your heels into the floor, and then it's just basically shifting around in that position. So there's a number of things you can do. You can reach back, try and touch the knee on the opposite side. Try and imagine pushing one armpit to the floor, then pushing the other armpit to the floor, pushing your hips from side to side. You can paddle through the ankles. But again, we're just going to spend 2 minutes playing about with that position, okay? Off we go. So just get yourself comfortable in that position, or comfortable being uncomfortable. So again, anybody that has done yoga in the past, think about the things that you may have talked about during those yoga sessions. So it's again pushing the hips up into the air, trying to ground the whole hand, try and grip the floor with your fingertips as much as anything else. Push your heels down into the floor. If you want to just hang out in that position for 2 minutes, you can do, but try and do different things. So try and add a little gentle twist into it. Try and drop one shoulder closer to the floor, or one armpit closer to the floor. Paddle the ankle, so allow one knee to bend, put more pressure down through the left, where the right knee bends, then vice versa, so you're paddling the ankles a little bit, working a little bit on that calf flexibility. When you're pressing down into it, try and shrug your shoulders right up by your ears. So you're almost trying to push your head as far away from the floor as you can. You're a minute in, you've still got a minute left to go, because I forgot to fill my water. I'm just going to quickly do that now. That's what you call being prepared for a session, filling your water during the video. But I'm prepared otherwise. 30 seconds, guys, then we're going to come into our first circuit. Our first circuit is a full 10 minutes long, without a break. Without a break in that one. 15 seconds left. This is good. So the guys in Zoom, looking good. If you feel like you absolutely need a break, just drop to your knees, shake out your arms, but just try and keep yourself moving, come back into position. So what we're trying to do is loosen up all those joints. Get to learn how those joints feel, where they tire out, which joints, which areas are getting the most tired. Time, relax, relax, relax. Okay, guys, so this next one is going to be 10 minutes non-stop, and this is intense cardio. Okay, so this is about getting the heart rate up and keeping the heart rate up the whole way through. So try and keep working as much as you can. You've got what you're going to work on. You're going to do every round is going to be 50, so 50 high knees. You're going to do 30 mountain climbers, and then you're going to do +2 burpees every round. So in the first round that would be 2 burpees, second round 4, third round 6, messed that up, 6, then 8, 10, 12, 14. I'm going to try and get as high as possible over that 10-minute period. Does that kind of make sense to everybody? Give us a quick thumbs up on Zoom if that makes sense. Cool, fantastic. Getting at least a thumbs up from most people. So when you go through it, there are 2 ways to do things as well, okay? So you can go for 50 high knees on each side and 30 mountain climbers on each side. Don't worry, I'll demo these in a second. Or you can go the quicker way, which is 50 high knees in total, 30 mountain climbers in total. Whichever one you choose, stick with it. Okay, so if you choose the long way, stick with the long way. If you choose the quick way, stick with the quick way and just work it that way. That'll affect obviously the number of rounds that you do, but you're trying to keep working for the 10 minutes. So the high knees shouldn't take too much explanation. 50 reps, 50, driving these up. As soon as you've done those 50, you're straight down. I'll do it side on mountain climber, where it again is that driving knee in between the elbows each time. 50, 30 +2. Going to get going with that in 3, 2, 1, let's go again. So 50 high knees, so really leaning back, make sure those knees go right up each time. So I don't want to see just knees just here where you're just jogging on the spot. It's driving those knees up each time. So you want that with high knees. You want to imagine that at any point you could just do, you know, the Gerard Butler move, and this is in 300. You know, the whole knees high enough that you just go stick your foot out. This is Sparta. That kind of idea. You want the knees right up high. Once you've done those 30 mountain climbers, it's 2 burpees. Then you start again. 50, 30, 4 burpees. 50, 30, 6 burpees. 50, 30, 8 burpees. And so on. Working your way through bit by bit by bit. So again, just to review for the guys on YouTube, in case you weren't paying attention, it's just going to be 50 high knees, straight down into 30 mountain climbers, straight into burpees. The burpees, you have a choice as well. You can either go for chest to floor, or you can go for straight arm. Your choice, dealer's choice on this one. Now, like I say, there isn't a whole lot of coaching involved in this side of things once you know those 3 exercises. The goal is just to keep going. Now, high knees, mountain climbers and burpees are 3 really inefficient exercises. They are not meant to be easy. So if you think about, you know, if you think about doing something like running a 5K or running in general, your goal is to try and be quite efficient so you can move as far as you can with as little energy expended as possible, and therefore, in theory, you can move faster. This is not what we're trying to do. What we are trying to do is make this as inefficient as possible. We are trying to elevate that heart rate. We are trying to squeeze in as much work into a short period as possible. So this should be viewed more like trying to catch the last train home, trying to get on the last bus home after a night out. You will go absolutely hell for leather, knowing that once it's done, it's done. There is a finish line in sight. The good news is you are 3 minutes gone, and the other good news is as the round goes on and on and on, you will have less and less rounds, because your 50 high knees, your 30 mountain climbers take the same amount of time. However, that number of burpees keeps climbing and climbing and climbing. So it gets higher and higher and higher. So obviously, it's going to take you longer to do 15, well, what am I saying, 15? It's going to take you longer to do 16 burpees than it is going to take you to do 2 burpees. Good. Just keep working. Again, if you've chosen chest to floor, make it stick with chest to floor, even if it slows you down. Now it's going to get to the stage, and I can see already it is happening to some of you already. You aren't alone, put it that way, where you're going to have to take small breaks, and it's about getting your breathing under control as quickly as you can. So let's say you've made it to the round of 20 burpees. You're absolutely gasping for air. The whole goal of this is to keep working, but you just can't move. You're absolutely gone. Stop, take a break. Get yourself in a resting position. So hands on the knees, standing up. Set yourself a little mini target. So maybe take 10 breaths or 5 breaths. But be strict with it. Take those breaths, just... And as soon as you've taken those breaths, go again. So go again immediately. Even if you have to go slower, even if you don't get as many rounds in as you hoped, get working. Okay, we're trying to do as much work as possible over this 10-minute block. Good news is you are approaching 5 minutes. You are approaching 5 minutes. So 5 minutes in. This is looking good. Obviously for the burpees, just keep an eye out for any light fittings above you. I know I said it on Monday, but none of you guys were here. You were all busy playing touch on Monday. One of our very first lockdown sessions, I busted the light fixture because I did a burpee, wasn't paying attention, elbowed it on my way up. Ended up having to do the rest of the session in the dark, which at the moment is fine. 100 days ago, the clocks hadn't even changed, so it was in pretty dark on that one. So if you go back and look at watch video, I think it's 2 or 3, not sure which one, but video 2 or 3, you'll notice about halfway through the session, it just suddenly goes very, very dark, and that's because I've elbowed the light fitting above me. So do be careful of those things. 6 minutes gone. 6 minutes gone. So you have got just 4 minutes to go. Just 4 minutes to go. Now then we turn it into a slightly different workout for the second half. So it's still all about the work in the second half, but the rounds are much, much shorter. So the rounds are actually 4 minutes long, and 1 minute of that is resting, okay? So the rounds are actually 3 minutes of work, 1 minute of rest each time. So that's dead easy if you look at it like that. Just over 3 minutes left to go, just over 3 minutes left to go. This is good. Try and maintain that movement quality as best you can as well. So I know you start to get more tired, but obviously with the high knees you should be able to do relatively easily and maintain that quality. Mountain climbers, that's a bit tougher. Just be careful not to let the bum creep up into the air. So you want to try and keep your body in a kind of flat position. So if you imagine this is your feet, this is your hips, and this is the other elbow's my head, you want to try and keep that kind of straight line through the body. You don't want to kind of get into that kind of head up, or sorry, bum up, head down kind of position. You want to try and keep yourself as flat as possible throughout. Looking good. 2.5 minutes to go. 2.5 minutes to go. That is 75% done. 75% done. So you think 3/4 done, or if you're, you know, glass half empty, that would be 25% to go. You've still got 25% to go. So we're going to keep working. 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left. 8 minutes out of 10 gone. 80% finished. Looking really strong. 90 seconds left to go. You should know the exercises by now, but in case you know, you're John sitting there watching having a packet of crisps while watching this video, which he's claimed he's done a few times. All you're looking to do, 50 high knees, 30 mountain climbers, plus 2 burpees. You can message around each other afterwards, see who got to the highest number of burpees. You know, if you're competitive like that. Of course, remember, you have to make sure you were doing the same variation. So did you do 50 high knees on each leg, or did you do 50 in total? Because you can't claim bragging rights about doing more burpees if you did less high knees and less mountain climbers. You're going to get a well-earned rest, guys, in 40 seconds time. A well-earned rest in 40 seconds time. It's looking good. Keep working right to the end. 30 seconds. Half a minute. 9.5 minutes gone. 9.5 minutes done, which you will not have to do again. I promise. Unless, of course, you decide to do this video on YouTube again a second time. Although, to be honest, for this one, I'll be very surprised if anybody chooses to do it a second time. Because it is relatively brutal, this one. And time. Okay, guys, time. Get yourselves a well-earned drink. You're going to have at least a minute to rest. At least a minute to rest. So, what we are going for, we're just going to go for 3 rounds. Okay, so that's all we've got left is 3 rounds. Each round is 4 minutes long. One of those minutes is resting, so you're actually only going to do 9 minutes of work over 12 minutes. What we are looking to do, we do have some more burpees, I'm afraid to say. So we do have more burpees. But what you've got to do is a little chipper workout every 4 minutes. So what you're going to do is you're going to do 30, so 30 squat jumps, 25 sit-ups, 20 press-ups. Okay, so 30, 25, 20. You're going to work your way down. When you've completed all of those, whatever time you've got left, if you have any time, you squeeze in as many burpees as possible in that time that's left. Now you might not have any time left. You might run out of time before you've even finished all that, and that's fine. It ends at 3 minutes no matter where you're at. But your goal is 30 squat jumps. So 30 squat jumps, that down, split it up, 30 reps. As soon as you've done 30 reps, you're straight down. You've got 25 sit-ups. As soon as you've done 25 sit-ups, you then immediately into 20 press-ups. As soon as you've done those 20 press-ups, whatever time you have left, you do as many burpees as you can. Does that make sense, everybody? Excellent, cool. Make a note. So I want you to count your burpees, not for me, not for anybody else. Just count your burpees for your own amusement, to challenge yourselves. I'll explain why in a minute. So that's 2 minutes of rest we've had. Let's get ourselves onto our feet. So we're going to start off with 30 squat jumps. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Off we go. So 30 squat jumps, hips down, drive up, hips down, drive up. So 30 reps. Now, no matter what, this circuit is over in 3 minutes. So make sure you're working for that 3 minutes. I'll try and give you regular time updates. But once you've finished those squat jumps, it is 25 sit-ups. 25 sit-ups is your next one. Good. Make sure you squat down into it each time, so it's a squat jump. Squatting being an important part of it. You think about it, it's more than half the exercise. 5 letters as opposed to 4 in jump. Then 25 sit-ups. Following those 25 sit-ups, it is 20 press-ups. 20 press-ups. Good news is everybody's setting a fairly good time, because you're 1 minute in. Well, 1 minute and 15 in. So I would guesstimate-ish that everybody will probably have a bit more time than I did when I trialed this one out. Because I will admit, I don't do the full workout, but I do every part of it to trial it out to see what it's like, to see how well it works. I suspect some of you guys will be fitter than I am at it. So I think you'll have about 40 seconds. I think. I had about 25 seconds to do burpees myself. I reckon you guys are probably a little bit fitter, a little bit faster. You can manage to get 40 seconds of burpees in. Again, you're 1 minute and 50 gone. So you'll have to set the pace with those press-ups when you get to them. Now then, you can change this one yourself. You can make a change to it if you need to. So if you are struggling, with shoulder pains, with any shoulder issues, actually any issue, you can actually swap out any of the exercises. So take an exercise that lasts roughly the same amount of time. So instead of, say, 30 squat jumps, you might do 40 squats without the jump. That takes the impact out of it. You might do, instead of the press-ups, you might do a shoulder tap. So a press-up position, you reach up, you tap the opposite shoulder for 30 reps on each side. Something that takes roughly the same amount of time. Gives you a bit of an idea. And time. There you go. That's 3 minutes done, 3 minutes done, 3 minutes done. Okay guys, so make a note of how many burpees you managed to get squeezed in there. Okay, so that is your target this next round. Okay, so you still have to do the other things. I want you to try to match or beat your previous score. So if you manage to do 1.5 burpees, you have to try and beat 1.5. Or if you did 2 burpees, you have to try and beat 2. You still got another 30 seconds to rest before we start round number 2. Like I say, we're only doing 3 rounds in total. So round number 2 starts in 15 seconds. So again, now is the time where you should be trying to get your breath back. So either sat down completely or hands on the knees, which is one of the most efficient ways to get your breath back without lying on the floor. So just nice deep breaths. Going again in 3, 2, 1, let's go. So we're into round number 2, let's go. So 30 squat jumps. So again, we're straight back into those squat jumps. That's those hips down, explode up. As soon as you've done those 30 squat jumps, you're then back onto your back into those sit-ups. Following those sit-ups, you're then onto press-up position. 20 press-ups. Good. Looks solid. Try and land on soft knees, take some of the impact out. So even though the legs are getting tired, two or three of you guys are kind of landing really stiffly, try and land soft knees so you drop into that next rep. Same idea. Bit of a weird analogy, but do you ever play that stupid game when you're growing up where you toss an egg between you and usually a brother or a sister or a cousin? You try and throw an egg to each other without breaking it. You never catch it just like that. You actually try and receive it. So you actually almost do that softly. So soft hands. You try and do the same thing with soft knees. So you take that impact out of it. Every time that you land, jamming your knees into the floor, puts a little bit more impact than is necessary through the knees, through the ankles, through those joints. You're over 1.5 minutes into this 3-minute block. So the end is coming. It looks like for a couple of you who are taking an awful long time between each sit-up, it looks like the end has already arrived. Now remember, you have your target, okay? Nailing that. I predicted 40 seconds. We have one person who has a full minute of burpees. Yeah, you're right. You're right to look at the camera. Maybe I'm just thinking to myself, God, you're slacking off. And the challenge is to try and match or beat your previous score. You have 35 seconds in which to do so. Remember, you will get a minute to rest at the end of this. If you run out of time, so be it. You run out of time. Just gives you something to aim for the next time. Good. We only have the second person starting their burpees now. 15 seconds left. And if you have beat that score, set a new higher score. See how high you can get. Don't stop. Full 3 minutes of work. Time. 1 minute to recover. 1 minute to recover. We've got our final round. So again, either hands on the knees, getting your breath back, or even make yourself comfortable, lie yourself down on the floor. However, I would highly recommend you don't let Grandad see you doing that on the field. I don't think he would take it that well. I think he's a bit more old school in his approach, and I would recommend that you do that one. That one's not bad in terms of getting your breath back, but having your hands on your knees or lying on the floor is by far a much more efficient way of doing it. I'll give you a little tip. Anytime you ever do that, actually, hang on a second, I'll get you guys started. So you're starting again in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Final round. So we're in those 30 squat jumps. This is the last time you've got to do these. So let's make sure you are pushing through it. Make sure you're pushing through it. So, like I was saying, guys, if ever you're doing any of the contact stuff, whether you're watching on YouTube or whether you guys are on the Zoom, if you're doing any of the contact stuff in training, especially, now I love that drill, the one where it is a small space and it is just sort of 5 or 6 minutes of just flat out tackling again and again and again, but you're absolutely exhausted by the time that block is over. If you have a look, you will see me and about 3 other forwards are just down, hands on our knees, just getting our breath back, because the less energy it takes, the easier it is for you to recover. Just the act, especially after something as exhausting as that, the act of actually standing up and walking around is very, very tough. There you go, that's 1 minute gone. So we've got our 30 squat jumps. Then you're into those 25 sit-ups. Now remember, it's the last time you've got to do them. It's the last time. This is it. We are done after this. We are done after this. You're absolutely flying through. Nice work. Sit-ups looking good. There's a bit of a less of a pause now. There's a minute and a half gone. So 90 seconds left, no matter what you get to. Your target for your burpees, or even how far you got through the circuit, because if you're doing this on YouTube and you're thinking to yourself, I haven't even got 1 burpee done, that's fine. So let's say you've done the 30 squat jumps, let's say you've done the 25 sit-ups, but you've only done 10 press-ups. Your challenge is to match that or beat that in the next round, to do 11 press-ups or 12 press-ups. Just because you haven't made it as far as the burpees doesn't mean you're not doing the workout. As long as you're working as hard as you can for the full 3 minutes, that's absolutely fine. But this is the final, it's not even the final minute, it's the final 50 seconds. The final 50 seconds. We are done after this one, guys. Okay, so make sure you are absolutely going for it. I want you to go as hard as you possibly can. You got 35 seconds remaining. 35 seconds remaining. This is good. Here's why these guys are finishing off. As always, if you have any feedback, give it to your coaches, give it to your team captains, or contact me directly, Neil Gallagher Training on Instagram, same on Facebook. Find me on there. Any questions, any queries, anything that you can that you have for me, let me know about it. Okay, guys, and time. That is 3 minutes done. We are done our last one. We are finished. Okay, so really well done to the guys on Zoom that have been following this. If you've been doing this along on YouTube, really well done. Don't be afraid to let me know how much you hate me for designing that one. But other than that, guys, that was really good work, and I will see you on Monday. Well done.